So Yoda or Shelby is going to be interviewing Adam from Summoner's Platform, just kind of going over what they do, going over what they help out with, everything about them and what they got going on, what they've done, what they're proud of. So the kind of first off, for the people who don't know, give me a rundown of what is Summoner's Platform, kind of like what it is now and kind of what you guys want it to be in the future.
Yeah, thanks so much for the chance to talk about it. So the Summon Platform is a community coordination platform. Specifically, we help people to manage their own treasuries and to pull their community members, and also to set up a full integration with an Agora DAO, if that's what they want to do. We kind of see this as in stages of decentralization, depending on what the particular community wants to do. So let's say you have like a project on Cardano and you want to show everybody that you are being responsible with the funds that you're collecting. In the old days, you used to have somebody who was like the trusted treasurer of a project, and the person who was like, let's say an NFT project was selling a bunch of NFTs, and then they put all of their money into one wallet, and that's the group wallet, and only one or two people have the keys for that wallet. Well, the problem is that anybody who has the keys for that wallet can transfer the assets out and run away with it. So one of the things that we did was we started off as members of a DAO, which made the Roundtable app. And so we basically did the same logic as Roundtable app, where you could create a multi-sig treasury, multi-signature, which means that a new address is derived from the people who will be signing the transaction. So if you have a group of 3 people who could possibly sign the transaction, and you have to have at least 2 of 3 people sign the transaction, then you can derive a new address using Cardano's native scripts that can become your treasury for your group. So now, instead of having just one person run off with the funds, you have to have at least 2 people run off with the funds.
Yeah, a couple people.
Or maybe it's going to be a 3 of 5 or a 5 of 7 multi-sig.
Yeah, a little more secure. Yeah.
Just provides a framework for accountability, basically, that people have to sign off when there's going to be a group decision. So we also made a polling module. We call it our fee-free polling, because the voter doesn't have to pay any fees. So what happens is, when you want to run a vote, you can take a snapshot of all of the people who hold a particular token. You can say, hey, at this moment in time, I want everybody who holds an audit token to have this snapshot done. And so I can see what wallets are holding the tokens, and then I assign them voting weight according to that snapshot. So somebody who holds 100 audit tokens gets 100 votes, voting weight, I guess you'd say. Somebody holds 500 gets 500 votes. And so it's a way of being able to sort of show with your community who's really invested in the community, and then they get to have a voice in how decisions are made. And so when you run a poll in that way, you can then publish it to your community page on the Summit platform. Because if you made this community page, you can show like, hey, here's our multi-sig, where you can see where we are keeping our treasury, and then here's our voting platform, where you can see any of the snapshot polls that we've rolled out and that we've asked people to participate in. And then the final part is our integration with the Agora DAO scripts. This is a way that the function of the organization can be completely decentralized and run only by the token holders. It doesn't require any person to be like an administrator of the group. For instance, let's say you have a treasury and you have a whole bunch of assets in there, and you say, we want to have a vote to move some of these assets over to a multi-sig wallet that will be used to buy into a project. Everybody who holds one of your governance tokens for your DAO would have a chance to vote on that. And then once the vote is complete, unlike a snapshot poll, which just sort of like gives you a sense of who voted and what did they say, and then somebody has to actually do something about it, the Agora DAO script will actually be able to have what's called an authority token. But essentially, that means that as soon as the vote is over, that action will be executed. Somebody has to like press the button, but it can be anybody who says, okay, the vote's over. So now you can execute the result of the proposal, which was to fund this, fund this side account for us to do work on. Then it will go ahead and release that. And there doesn't have to be like a person who can say, no, I've decided that even though it met the threshold for the vote to do it, I'm going to change my mind and not do it after all.
A little more. It's going to be like a little more streamlined too, as well. Because you're not waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, vote's over, but the person's got to sign it. Well, it's 2:00 in the morning for them, and you got to wait till 8 a.m. their time and stuff. That's I like that.
And we're always working on ways to sort of have more effects to make that more sophisticated. So that's one of the things that Riley, our head of development, works on. The Agora DAOs on Cardano are really just in their infancy. It's going to be really cool to see what they're going to be doing, especially as we have like versions of it popping up and improvements being made as the protocol improves.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's pretty exciting. I like that. What started Summoner's platform? Because somebody had to wake up one day, I'm going to build this. And who was it decided that? And like, how did it all kind of start? And what was the reasoning for it?
There was a group of us who had, been involved with DAO. Basically, we were sort of approached by various people saying like, hey, would you build a sort of more permissioned version of Roundtable? And would you build another platform for doing DAO stuff? And one of the issues with doing that with DAO as an organization would be that we would have had to register DAO in some way to turn it into like a legal entity rather than just being a conglomeration of open source development. We like Roundtable having the mission of maximum decentralization. So with Roundtable, there is no server backend for coordinating the votes. Somebody has to host the DAO, right, on their equipment, but it's open source. So that could be anybody. Anybody can take a version of Roundtable and start hosting it. But then when you actually want to put those signatures together, the question is who will hold on to the signature hash of each person as they sign it to put it together. And for Roundtable, the way it's built is nobody. I got to try to make sure I remember Gun.js coordination server, which is just a web browser based, it's all built in the web browser, the way that these things will coordinate. It's actually not very reliable. If you have everybody sitting together and say, okay, you sign, you can, get it to coordinate. If you try to have any sort of time go by where one person signs and the next person signs, you're probably not going to find each other through like the peer-to-peer network. The flip side of, very decentralized means it's not as efficient. So you usually end up with people manually sending each other the signature hashes, which is a great solution as well. But we've said, okay, well, we need to make this more turnkey, easier for people to handle. If we're gonna make it into like something that would be more like a business, right? And so that's where Summon came from. Summon was basically the idea was that we would build the platform and then follow the same open source ethos of DAO. And we actually gave 10% of Summon's tokens to DAO as a grant in order to make sure that that's, sort of shows like, DAO has a stake in this. And then, anybody who holds Summon tokens gets to be able to use them for using the platform as a utility token on the platform. And also when we have votes ourselves for how should we develop the platform further, the Summon tokens are what we use for the voting weight for that.
Nice. Why Cardano?
I'll say for my own part, I personally was attracted to Cardano for blockchain that focuses on getting the fundamentals down first. It does a lot of academic research. My background, my day job is I'm an academic. Once you get the first principles defined and you get the map of where you're going, then you build on that. I like Cardano's approach, like the vision of Cardano, which is to be a blockchain that people can actually use and is there for bettering the world rather than just being, like the next big VC thing. So that's what brought me to Cardano. And I think it's much the same for most of the other people involved. In terms of development, and you mentioned like how, Haskell can be a barrier to development. I think that was definitely like 2 years ago when we started the project. Like that was very much something that was felt. When we started building the Summit platform, we thought, well, we'll have this done in a few months, and when we have our stuff ready, the Agora DAO scripts will be rolling out, and they'll be ready. We're going to put it all together. We're just going to have this huge DAO ecosystem, just like how Ethereum has it. Because the Agora DAO scripts are meant to like mimic like Governor Bravo, which main Ethereum governance platforms, and it's meant to bring that kind of functionality to Cardano, but be built, for Cardano's technology. And it did take a lot longer to roll out, and a lot longer to be audited than we expected. And then our parts, because that was taking longer or we took longer, it just happens, right? In building, nothing survives your first plan, the first draft of your plan. But we kept going, and we found a good niche of just trying to, like serve the community. And now it's like for development of Cardano, we have a ton of people moving over to Icon, which is just like, I'm also not a coder. I do a really terrible job, a little bit of Python, but with Icon, it's a much more accessible language. And it's really, since it compiles into Plutus, then it really like allows people to develop in a way that they are more comfortable with, while still maintaining a lot of the secure underpinnings of Cardano. And so we're taking advantage of that as well. Yeah, we chose Cardano because of the fact that even though it's harder, we think it's better.
Yeah, I would say of all the groups I've been part of, Cardano has one of the better ecosystems, as in openness and stuff. And then so I went to Rare Evo last year and talked to somebody from Blink Labs, right? This guy, his intelligence is far surpasses mine, but yeah, he doesn't care, right? He's like, I don't, we work two different worlds and two different things, but I don't, you just don't care. It brings you together, and you have some camaraderie to it. And I think that for me is what is really strong about Cardano, at least for me personally. So
yeah, absolutely. The community factor is what has kept us going. We started it because we thought that we would be able to make something cool, but we probably would have quit a long time ago if it weren't for the community and the fact that there were people who would, just be there to encourage us and be there to say like, we want to see what you're going to bring to Cardano, and we want to hang out with you.
Yeah. That's from a group that uses Summer's platform. I am thankful that you guys stuck it out.
Yeah.
Kind of leading into that, nothing's easy, right? Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
What, as a team, you guys, has it been a challenge that you can look back on, like, while I was kind of sucked to go through, but I'm glad that we worked together and persevered. Is there anything that stands out to you that you think something that made you would say make your team better or stronger or closer?
As a team, a lot of it has just been, trying to just sort of like finding how to work together and how we go. When we started off, we had this, huge team, a lot of people involved and really interested in, like making the product. And we thought like it was going to be quick as we went. There's a lot of people who had to say like, I've got to go off and do my own thing. I'm not finding myself in like working in the team anymore. But it's like, as things change, some people are like, you know what? I wish you guys well, but I need to go do my own thing.
That happens.
So, we had some attrition, and we had new, a couple of new people come in, and it's been one of those things where we've had to sort of like find like, where can we find a way to make it work? Yeah, I think that we pretty much have sort of just settled into the groove of where everybody knows what they can work on and where everybody can try to make it go. It was hard because when you're like starting off with in the bear market and you have no resources, and Catalyst was shut down for a year, and the product that you thought that you're going to be working with is like a little bit delayed. You're like, man, what do we do now? But I think just sort of coming through that makes it makes it stronger and makes you realize like how much you can do if you really want to stick with it. And those who have gone to do other things are doing awesome things too. So yeah.
Even in bear markets, right? So there's always money coming in, money going out, right? So some projects do better than others, but it's kind of neat to see that projects like that who aren't like on the hype train or all the time, or aren't like, oh, we'll make you millions of dollars and X amount of years, are still persevering even through like the last bear market, and eventually there's going to be another one, right? And we're going to have to do it again and persevere through. So that's really awesome, I guess, about that. In the future, like let's say 5 years from now, what do you see Summer's platform like? What do you see it as like 5 years from now?
Yeah, we want to see it as a place where any community can come and plug in and have, access to the best community coordination tools. Because, like when we started off, we sort of like started off with the idea of we're going to build it for like be this wrapper, be this interface for the Agora DAO scripts, and so that people could make specifically DAOs. But as we were waiting for that to become viable, we realized like, well, hey, we knew we were going to need to add something like a multi-sig treasury for like smaller use cases. So let's get that going. Hey, we should do this like snapshot polling thing. We should get this going. Hey, we have a way for people to like establish a presence, so we should get that going. And so it's really sort of grown out of like as we see what the users need, we can add to it. And for a long time, we had very low use, and even though like everybody thought that it was great in concept, we didn't actually have a lot of people coming to the platform to use it, because not many projects in Cardano during the bear market were actually like caring about having polls or caring about showing that they had created a multi-sig treasury. It wasn't until we actually like sort of got the ball rolling over the past year that we've really seen the users start showing up. But now it's like it's nice that we're getting the recognition, and I think it's because we've done things the right way. Like we probably could have done more hype and done some big flashy, more of like a degen play, we'll say. We could have done some big degen play a long time ago and gotten the hype if we'd wanted to. But we knew that if we did a big degen play, that we wouldn't have the legitimacy to be able to operate in the space the long term, because it would restrict us in certain markets. But because we've done things right and we've taken it slow and steady, we now have the contract with Intersect to run the vote for the Constitution Committee, interim Constitution Committee members. And so that's a really awesome thing that we have that opportunity. And, we got to participate as part of the temperature check, and we're able to sort of show people like, hey, that you're safe working with us because we have a reputation, we're a brand you can trust, and we're doing things the right way.
I think when you start, we talk about real world adoption and stuff like that, and bringing not just normal everyday people into the ecosystem, but bringing corporations or businesses to start using blockchain tech as a whole. There's got the lawmakers have to get their hands into it first and figure out, right? So when we dot our I's and cross our T's and we stick it out and do the right thing even when it sucks, I think like that's going to help us in the long term. Honesty, hard work and stuff, and trying to do the right thing. I think that's going to do a lot more for real world adoption than any 1,000% increase of any token and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Like, and you ask like what we'd like to see in 5 years. Like it's almost like a trope that when we talk about DAOs, we say like a homeowners association be a DAO, because everybody hates their homeowners association because of the people who end up running it, right? Homeowners associations are actually the best unit of government in the world, because it's like your neighborhood, your streets, that you get to like actually be in control of your own little neighborhood. Except for the fact that there's always going to be those people who are like, I want to run the neighborhood. But if you could have a DAO that removes any single person from having that control, the decisions are made by just an autonomous entity that's helping to guide, like get the input from the residents, then it makes things better. And I'd love to see like our technology used by like a homeowners association or a neighborhood association, and they wouldn't even know that's on the blockchain. All they know is that they've registered to vote. They get to help make decisions, and if there's an auditor that says like, is the vote valid, and can you prove that people actually voted the way that you say they voted, it can be audited and come through and proven that yes, they absolutely did.
I hear a lot of people complain about homeowners associations, but never anybody bring up that solution with it. That does make a lot of sense. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, well, even like smaller cities and stuff, like, because I live in a little small area, right, where a lot of people are super spread out, or just can't always come together at the same time and stuff like that. You could run it over a blockchain, all the voting and stuff. You could do it online, that'd be better.
Yeah, but and the beautiful thing about blockchain is it's so auditable, and that's what I love about SCAT DAO, is that you guys are looking to that and saying like, we're going to make it so that people can trust the institutions that they're part of, and can know that it's been looked at, it's been audited, and that we have this very high assurance that things were done right.
Granted, nothing's foolproof, right? You can't be 100% sure, but I mean, but being able to help people mitigate risks and stuff like that, and feel more comfortable in what they're doing. That's really nice. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I did see you guys have a Catalyst fund proposal. Would you want to talk about that?
Yes. We have 3 that are in. I did not prepare the notes for them, so let me make sure I can do them off the top of my head. So the first one I'll mention is just kind of a fun one. It's just kind of like an innovation, and I will take the blame for it if people think it's stupid, because I asked Riley and the devs, like, could we do this? And they're like, yeah, we could definitely do that if people actually want it done. Go ahead and put in the proposal and see if people want it done. So it's a way of putting forward like messages, like announcements, verified announcements from projects and people. And so what it would be is, when you want to make an announcement, you would use your Cardano keys, cryptographic keys, you would write a message and then sign that message with your Cardano keys, just like you might do with a PGP key. If people are familiar with PGP, which is like how a lot of emails can be secured or prove your identity. So you sign it with your Cardano key, and then the tool that we would develop, if this proposal is accepted, would also upload that message with the signature to IPFS. Also have it tied to a Cardano transaction that has the hash of that message. So you say like, I wrote this message, I made a hash of it with my key, so that I know that if anybody tries to change the message, it will mess up that hash, and that hash cannot be reproduced by my key. But if you have the public key and the message, you can verify that the message is accurate and from me. And then the message is posted on IPFS, so it's persistent and publicly available. And the key is posted on the Cardano blockchain, so that it becomes immutable and part of the history of Cardano. And so it's just basically like a way of making verified announcements. So it's pretty simplistic. It could be easily sort of rolled into the platform, or anybody could take this as an open source module and say, here's our little announcement page, and it could look up any announcement you make.
Good question about that.
Oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
Would you be able to send that message to individual wallets, or is it just posted on?
Well, that's the thing. So that's actually AdaMail does what you just asked about. So AdaMail basically will encrypt a message and send it to a wallet and say, but then the thing is that you have to be like, oh, now I have one more mailbox to look at. So you have to go and look at that. But what this is doing is this is basically like not that sophisticated. This is just saying like, I've made an announcement, I posted it to IPFS. If you want to look at it, you can go there and see it. Some of the platform has this built in, so projects make an announcement, and then they have like the announcement section of their community. You can see the official announcements, and you can verify that somebody who has the proper key for the project has signed it. and that it's been actually verifiably posted. Or people who have, or people could put it on their own website and say, we're just using the open source code, but here it is on our website. We have an announcements page, and you can see that it's been signed. It's more simplistic than sending somebody a message, but potentially, for a very niche use case, easy to do. And it could also be something like when you make a tweet, you can say like, "Hey, we have this announcement. Here's the link to verify it." That kind of thing.
Well, that's kind of
So it's the idea's been out there for a long time, right? We're trying to do the whole Apple thing. We're trying to do the whole Apple thing where the idea is already out there, but let's put it in a pretty package so that it becomes convenient enough for people that they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to use this now because it's so convenient." The second one I'll mention is we already have our polling for anybody who wants to have a poll. But one of the things that you can do that maybe some people don't realize since they're not SPOs is that an SPO can actually go into Summit platform and they can say, "I want to have a poll of all the people who delegate to me." And so when they set up a poll, they can say, it'll ask them like, "What kind of snapshot do you want to take?" And they can say, "I want to do a delegation snapshot of all the people who have delegated to my poll." And then it'll say, "Well, what's your pool ID?" And you put in your pool ID, and then the Summit platform will take that snapshot. There will be a very similar way to be able to do that with DREPs once DREPs come online. So what we're proposing is that we will build out the ability for DREPs to be able to do that as well. And to be honest, we're going to build that in either way, so that when DREPs come online, they will be able to go to Summit platform and say, all the people who are delegating to us, I want to run a poll of all my delegators. But what we also want to do is say that, we're asking for some Catalyst funds to speed up the development of that, because if it's being paid for, we'll be able to focus on it quicker. Yeah. And then also we will offer it for free. I think I said for a year. So you can go to our, I'll make sure to send you the link tree where I'm going to put all these on a link tree. Yeah. So basically we'll also offer those for free. So all SPOs, all DREPs, when they come to some platform, the voters never have to pay a fee for a snapshot poll, but the person who implements the poll has to pay a fee, either with summon tokens or ADA. And so we'll basically bake it so that those will run for free if we're funded by Catalyst. And so it's basically our way of being able to say, like, we're contributing to the two-way communication between the SPO or the DREP and the people who delegate to them. Because we want a DREP to be able to say, like, "Hey, there's this governance action that's been proposed, and I really want to know what the people delegating to me think about it. So please go to Summit platform. Here's my poll. Do you think I should say yes? Do you think I should say no? Or do you think that I should get active in pushing for something to be changed about it before it? If I say no, what should I push for to change for it?" Those are the kinds of things that could be done on the poll.
That's a good one too. I like that a lot too.
Yeah, thanks. The third one, I want to make sure I get this right. So I'm going to pause here for just a moment. And if you want to. So our third proposal is something that Riley really wants to work on. It's called Summon Vaults, Intent-Based Treasuries. Basically, one of the things is that if you have you cannot just send funds to the DAO treasury through your regular wallet, like Eternal or Flint or Lace or whatever. If you try to do that, you have to include what's called the datum, because if you don't include the datum when you send to a Plutus script, the funds will actually be lost. So you know how all those people want to have a token burn? Sometimes they're like, "Oh, we should burn some ADA to lower the supply, increase the price." Well, just go ahead and send a normal transaction to a Plutus script, and you will be doing that. You'll be burning ADA because it'll get lost forever. There are ways that this can be. You can build. There are ways that you can build to not have that happen, and I know that they're looking to fix that with CIP 69, which is going to be included in Plutus v3 when they do the Chang hard fork. But if we want to be able to have DAOs interact with things like DeFi, there's also going to have to be like work done for integrations on that. We want to provide what's called intent-based treasury systems, so that these DAOs can seamlessly interact with the DeFi ecosystem. Instead of having to have a special contract where each DAO to interact with each DeFi platform, you'd be able to have like a more general way to do that. And it'd basically be like a framework to do that. I am right now at the top of my technical depth. So if you want to know the details on that, let's get a call with Riley. And I'm sure that Riley's going to be on a Twitter space, like a dozen DGen's Twitter space sometime as well. So I'm sure if somebody pops into one of Riley's spaces, they can ask him for the details, and he will give you all the details because Riley, he'll just talk and talk and talk about the details like that. When Riley told me that he had a way to, make it easier for DAOs to interact with DeFi on Cardano, and the DAOs to basically vote to send off some of their treasury to buy something directly and bring it right back into the DAO treasury, I was like, that sounds awesome, man. You should build it. And he says, well, let's see if people will pay us to build it, because we really need to make sure we have some money to buy some more ramen. And he likes the good ramen, not just the not the stuff that you can get for 19 cents a square. So so we're going to try to take care of him.
Nice. No, yeah, I've spoke to Riley before. At Rare Evil last year. He's a pretty cool dude, but he's got a lot to say, and I don't mind, man. People like him are motivated and they're doing a lot of good, so I appreciate people like him.
Yeah, with Riley and DZ and Rodrigo on our dev team, it's just three fantastic guys that do a lot of work. So they're awesome. It's great to be at the point where we're really getting some traction as a project to be trusted to do like big votes and having people come to us for integrations. And so it's an exciting time for Summit, and we're glad to have this relationship with you guys, and glad to have the support of the community, because we wouldn't be able to be here for the community. They had our back when like I said, we were doing most of our building during the year that Catalyst was shut down, and the depth of the bear markets. So it's been a tough road, but it's totally worth it to see now Cardano's like just I don't know, man. There's something about right now. It's like you can tell Cardano's just like kind of winding up and is about to explode. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good time. All right, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for talking to me, Adam.